This is a recording about Senate Bill 7 that is about to be signed by the governor. I'm going to highlight a few things that I think may be important to each of you. This is the bill about improper relationships, and that's something that's going to be important. What it does, and it's important for folks in our district to know that, it expands the prohibition of improper employee-student relationships to any school employee serving in a capacity that requires a license. That's a pretty big deal for each of us, so we've got to make sure that that's something that we're paying attention to. It expands the offense to include employee engaging in improper relationship with a student who the employee knows is enrolled in any public or private primary or secondary school with any student participant in an educational activity sponsored by a school district or public or private primary school or secondary school. And this is important. Maintains the new standard, and that's important. You knew about it, and it's for superintendents regarding an educator's termination. So once we know about it, it just basically means that the superintendent has to report it, but you've got to report it to them. The moment that the superintendent knows, they must report it. Creates a state jail felony for superintendent, director, or principal who fails to file a report with the intent to conceal an educator's criminal record. And then this one, this also adds works for the District of Innovation Regional Educational Service Center Shared Services Arrangement. So if any of those folks who are basically receiving state money try to conceal this and don't report it, it becomes a state jail felony. Extends immunity to a principal, superintendent, or other charter school director who tries to, in good faith, share or file a report with SBEC or communicates with other superintendents or directors or principals about an educator's criminal record or alleged incident of misconduct. The state's trying to clean up what we've seen out with a lot of educators doing inappropriate things with kids. And so I think they've got a valid reason to do that. Requires the board of trustees to really file paperwork or to actually create a policy that backs this up. And and we've got to provide parents with any knowledge. If we know something like that has happened, we have to tell the parents about it. If you're an applicant somewhere else, or if there was someone who is an applicant for a position that requires certification for pre-employment, the employment has to be checked, and we've got to find out if there's any criminal background, especially if there's any alleged misconduct with a kid or inappropriate relationship with a minor. SBEC, of course, can impose an administrative penalty to superintendents, directors, or principals who fail to provide a report or notice by the due dates in the bill. I will tell you, as your superintendent, that's always going to be my first piece. I'm going to report it the moment we have it. The law says that's what we're going to do, so we won't be waiting. So it's basically a matter of once we know something like that, we will immediately report it. Human Resources will immediately report it. Teacher prep programs have to do the same things. Continuing ed programs for principals to prevent and recognize. I think that's pretty good too. Programs for principals to prevent, recognize, and report any sexual conduct between an educator and student. Basically helps our principals become better spotters. And this gives you the room for TA to have document evaluating the performance of a teacher employed by the district or state for purposes of an investigation. Authorizes the Commissioner of Ed to conduct special accreditation investigations. Requires, this is one that's for the trustees, myself, in the school district, to adopt a written policy concerning electronic communications between a school employee and students enrolled in the district. That's pretty important for our instructional technology folks and our technology and curriculum people. So we have that policy out there. It should be in our updated AUP as that comes out. Prohibits a person from receiving service retirement annuity from TRS if the person's convicted of continuous sexual abuse of a young child or children, improper relationship between an educator, student, sexual assault, aggravated assault. So that's the information that we have so far. You've seen the items that I've highlighted so far in this. Hopefully that's helpful to you.